Welcome to the Child Care Director's Chair, the podcast for bold educators who are ready to lead, grow, and shake things up in early childhood education. Whether you're a teacher eyeing that lead role, a lead stepping into leadership, or a center owner dreaming big, this is your space to grow with purpose and leave your mark. Hosted by heart-centered leadership coach Erica Sacoccio, each episode brings you real talk, actionable tools, and a contagious laugh or two, all designed to help you step into your next level with confidence. So pour your coffee, pop in those earbuds, and take your seat, because your leadership journey starts right now in the Child Care Director's Chair.
Hey guys, it's your girl Erica here, and you are tuned in to the Child Care Director's Chair podcast, coming to you from Warwick, Rhode Island. Today's episode, it's a special dedication to my friends at Beautiful Beginnings Early Learning Center in Providence, Rhode Island. I am friends with the owner, Khadijah, and I am heading over to their program to do a training today on this very topic. And it's such a great topic. Thank you, Khadijah. I thought, oh my God, let me do a podcast today on this to just get me ready to go to their PD. I really can't wait. I love this group. I've been out to their center a couple of times. They also joined us at our Early Childhood Empowerment Conference this past, oh my God, spring. Can't even believe it's been almost a year. But we're going to talk about bridging the gap and leading across generations in early childhood education. You know, leading in early childhood education already comes with a lot of moving pieces. And now we have to add in the dynamic of managing a team that spans over 4 different generations, each with their own communication style, expectations, and approach to work. Whew, I have to tell you, it's a lot. But it's also one of the greatest opportunities we have as leaders. And in this episode, we're talking about how to manage and navigate multi-generational teams in your center, and why doing it well creates deeper connection, stronger culture, and lasting leadership. And I'm living this in real time. I'm currently working with my daughter, my niece, my nephew, my sister, former students. Oh my God, I'm old. We're literally reimagining the direction of one of our centers together. And yes, our conversations about branding, culture, and systems have been spirited, to say the least. But when I leaned in and really listened, especially to my daughter, my niece, and my nephew, who are the same age as my clients that are coming in, living, that kind of same life, speaking that same language. One, was working on having a baby. One just had a baby. My nephew has 3 children, just recently had a baby. Yeah, like they're talking to me and they're telling me things I really need to know and I really need to listen, because when my kids and my sister's kids went into early childhood programs, things were different. And I realized they were helping me see the future of ECE leadership in a new light. So this episode is for any director, owner, or aspiring leader who wants to stop that generational tug of war and start building a team where everyone brings their strengths to the table. 4 generations, one shared mission, but different ways of showing up. In many sectors, you're going to find baby boomers who are career veterans who've been in the field for decades. Then we have our Gen Xers. They're steady, they're self-sufficient, and they often get it done. They're like the backbone. And then we have millennials that are balancing modern ideas with deep emotional intelligence. And then our Gen Zers entering the workforce with tech confidence and strong boundaries. Each generation was raised with different societal norms, different parenting styles, and technology access, which shapes how they show up in the workplace. For example, boomers may see jobs as longevity as loyalty, when Gen Z may see job changes as a form of self-care and growth. And this matters because if you're not aware of these dynamics, you might misread people's actions. You might think someone's being lazy or disrespectful, when really they're just working through a totally different lens. And as a leader, you need to know your team, not just what they do, but what drives them, what supports them, and how they interpret their role in your center. Here's a leadership tip I want to leave with you. Maybe you create a space for team members to share their work philosophies. So maybe try a question at your next staff meeting. Maybe something like, what's one value you learned early in your career that still guides your work today? And listen, it'll really tell you where they're coming from. Now, common assumptions keep us divided, guys. If we don't challenge stereotypes, we end up sabotaging our team culture. Let's name a few of those common assumptions that are floating around, like older staff are set in their ways, or younger staff don't want to work, or millennials are too sensitive, or Gen X is checked out. These beliefs are dangerous because they become self-fulfilling. When we start seeing team members through these filters, we stop seeing their potential and we stop limiting our leadership. What we can do instead is assume best intent. Lead with curiosity. When a team member acts differently than you expect, ask yourself, what might be navigating this action that I don't see? If a Gen Z staff member texts instead of calling, it's not rudeness, it's efficiency in their world. And if a boomer staff member wants to print everything, that's not resistance. It might just be a comfort level or helps them with clarity. The strengths that every generation brings can really just help your program shine. Your team doesn't need to be the same, it needs to be whole. Instead of being frustrated by generational differences, try to see them as complementary. Boomers offer wisdom, patience, and a long view approach, while Gen Z brings independence, sharp decision making, and quiet consistency. Millennials thrive in collaboration. They're values driven and they bridge tech and tradition together. And your Gen Z is mission minded. They're confident with tech and they're full of bold, refreshing energy. In our recent center planning meetings, my natural instinct leaned towards systems and structure. But when my daughter and niece brought up the importance of visual storytelling, authentic brand voice, I had to pause and ask myself, what if their way is actually better for our clients that we serve today? And you knew what? They were right. And that's the power of listening across generations. I let them pick, what colors do you think that we should paint the walls? What food do you think we should put on the menu? What hours do you think that we need to serve our clients? What ways should we be using technology? Are we overusing it? Are we underusing it? So, really pay attention because especially if you have staff now that have young children, they're speaking the language of your current customer, not your customer from 10 years or 20 years ago. Build a culture of curiosity, not criticism. Curiosity disarms all the egos and it opens the door to innovation. Most workplace conflict doesn't come from bad intentions. It comes from unspoken assumptions and a lack of dialogue. Instead of shutting down new ideas with the we've always done it this way, try this. Tell me more about how you see this working or what inspired you to try that. This simple shift in tone can de escalate tension and invite more innovation into your team culture. Model with curiosity. Make it normal to ask questions before you critique. Create a space where new voices are heard and respected. One message, five interpretations, because communication styles are generational too. The way we deliver information matters just as much as what we say. Some generations prefer face to face. Others thrive on written updates or voice notes. Some want bullet points, and others need a whole backstory. If your message isn't being received, it's not always about clarity, it might be about the method. So, what you can do, ask your team during their one on ones, how do you prefer to receive updates or feedback? What's your favorite way to communicate throughout the day? By meeting people where they are, you build connection and you avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. And I have to tell you, this is something that really I had to work on. I honestly like face to face. I like talking to people or even an email where there's a timestamp, there's this clarity because I sometimes like things that I can refer back to because, I juggle a lot of things too. I might forget something so I can go back to a conversation and say, gee, did I get this wrong? I absolutely do not like text messages because I like to see a face. I like to hear the tone. And so you can misinterpret text messages. But I also have to understand that a lot of my younger staff, that is how they communicate. So I have to get better at not reading in between the lines and not making assumptions. And some of you might be laughing right now because you know that you've done it. So mentorship goes, both ways too. It's not top down. It's collaborative. The days of you'll learn when you've been here long enough are way over. Today, every team member has something valuable to teach. Even reverse mentorship is a concept of learning from younger or newer staff. It's not just nice, it's necessary. For me, working at a center and thinking about rebranding really has taught me this firsthand. I had to be willing to hand over some of the creative reins and trust the instincts of my niece, my nephew, my daughter, because they're our exact audience that we're building for. They're shaping our culture, our look, how we communicate with families. And the best part, they showed up fully with strategy, with passion. And honestly, they're quite brilliant. I will say that myself. Now, I might be biased, but they are brilliant. And recognize and celebrate and appreciate. What gets celebrated gets repeated. Different generations feel valued in different ways. And oh, did I learn this? Some want public praise, others love private affirmation, some appreciate a text or a meme, others want a good old fashioned thank you note. Listen, it matters because recognition boosts morale, it decreases burnout, and it builds team. So start a tradition like Shout Out Thursdays, where every team member shares a quick story of something they appreciated from someone from a different generation. And it builds bridges fast. So if you have an incredible opportunity as a leader to build a center culture that doesn't just tolerate differences, but thrives because of them, then let's do some action. Maybe you could try this week. Ask one generational different teammate what they love about their job. Or you could delegate a creative decision to a younger voice. Or maybe celebrate an older teammate's contribution. Reflect on a moment when someone younger or someone older taught you something valuable. So, in closing thoughts, here's what I want you to walk away with. You don't have to choose between tradition and innovation. And you don't have to be an expert in everything. You don't have to lead alone, whether you're a boomer, teaching with heart, a Gen Xer, holding it all together, or a millennial stretching between passion and burnout, or Gen Z, leader on the rise. There is a space for you at the table. We're better together. We're stronger when we learn from one another. And we build the future of early childhood leadership, not by doing it all our way, but creating a space where everyone gets to have something, to say. Here's to building bridges. Here's to leading boldly. And here is to all of us. See you soon.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Child Care Director's Chair, where we believe leaders aren't born, they're grown. If something sparked for you today, share it, shout it out, or pass it along to the next bold changemaker in childcare. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with Erica Sacosio for more real talk leadership tools and a whole lot of inspiration. Until next time, lead with heart, grow with fire, and always remember, the chair is yours. Now own it.